Hello, my name is Beth Selden and I'm a curriculum specialist for CEI's Meridian Professional Learning Program. Today I'm going to present to you a differentiated arts integrated music project that directly addresses literacy through music. By engaging students in an arts integrated project, students not only learn musical skills, but they are also engaged, creative, inspired, and also learn literacy using the science content of the form and function of a flower. They will learn the literacy skills of reading comprehension, vocabulary development, writing, speaking, and listening in this music project, which is called Flower Ensemble. So in this project, students are going to learn about the different parts of the flower and its environment, which helps it grow. In doing so, they're going to create what is called a soundscape, where they're going to learn how to take different musical instruments and make a sound that represents that particular flower's part or its environment. They're also going to learn different corresponding movements that go along with each of the flower's parts and its environment. And they're also going to use their ELA vocabulary to create descriptive sentences or phrases, depending upon the learner, for each part of the flower and its environment. And ultimately, it's going to culminate into a flower ensemble performance. So what that means is students are going to read, or depending upon the learner, the teacher may help read for the students. They're going to read their descriptive sentences, short phrases. They're going to play their instruments that they learned represent each part of the flower's parts and the environment, and then they're going to also move their corresponding movement. It's going to be a class-wide ensemble performance. So teachers are going to select different students to represent each part of the flower in the final performance, but everyone's going to have some kind of a role, whether it's movement, whether it's narration, whether it's speaking. Some learners, it may be conducting. Everyone's going to have some kind of role for each part of the flower and its environment. So in this project, we address a wide range of music skills, some of which are included but not limited to starting and stopping, so following a conductor, and some students, depending upon the learner level, will actually get a chance to be the conductor. They're also going to learn about musical opposites, such as loud and quiet, fast and slow, long and short. There also are a wide range of literacy skills that are addressed in this project, such as reading. Every day, students are going to read a small portion of a book or books about the parts of the flower. Students are also going to be writing, again, short descriptive phrases or sentences, depending upon the learner level, about the different parts of the flower and its environment. And they're going to be speaking depending upon the learner's level, they're going to be speaking about those sentences. So they're going to share out their descriptive sentences. They're going to read them. They're going to narrate them. And again, that may vary depending upon the learner. And then they're going to perform it. So when they perform it, they will be doing this. So they'll be working on this in their academic mini lesson. And then in the performance, they will also be reading and speaking what they wrote from their academic mini lessons. For this project, we have created 3 different versions of this project that align with grade level literacy standards in grades K, 1, and 2. I will begin with an overview of these differentiated versions for grades K, 1, and 2, and then I will discuss the curricular resources with modified content. As teachers begin to customize their materials in this project to meet the needs of their students, we have also provided some modified content for teachers in our resource slides. So that will be found in Appendix C, and we have resource slides for resource X, Y, and Z for some modified content. Finally, I will actually model the teaching of this project to a class of mock grade K-2 student learners with varied learning levels so that you can understand how you can incorporate and teach this project into your class if you have a very diverse classroom. Our standard K final sample. So this is a musical performance with instruments, creative movement, and spoken narration representing the flower. The final piece will incorporate seeds, roots, stems, leaves, petal, stamen, pistil, the flower's environment of sun, rain, wind, and feelings students identify as being evoked by the flower garden. Again, they're creating a soundscape as a class to create a final ensemble piece. So the teacher is going to select different students for each component or each body part, or each part, I should say, of the flower and its environment to do either the reading, so choosing their sentences from their academic mini lesson, to do the playing of the instrument, and then some students will do the movement for each component. So every student is going to have an opportunity to do either the reading, the playing, or the moving. So we go with our seeds. So some students are, the student or the teacher is reading the seeds, the descriptive sentence. Some students are playing the seed shaker, and some students are doing the movement that goes along with the seeds. Then we move along to the roots. The teacher will select a student to read, or the teacher are going to play the pop tubes, which represent the stems, and move. All of this can happen all at once. In other words, we can have a narrator while some students are playing their instruments and moving, or it could be read and then play and then move. For this learner, it probably will most likely all happen at once. So there'll be a reader, and then some students will be assigned to playing the instrument, some students will be assigned to moving, all happening at once. So now we have standard grade 1. And standard grade 1, it's the same overall process. What changes here is now we have a graphic score that they'll be following, but same overall process. So we have the flower part, in this case it's the seed, the instrument is the seed shaker, and then we have the movement. And this time the student is narrating 2 sentences, descriptive sentences, and we have the root brush for the amount of symbols. And again, this will be multiple students, right? Whoever's playing the root brush will be tapping, whoever's narrating will narrate, some students will still be doing the movement. Then we move on to our stem, and again, we have our pop tube, we have our movement, we have our symbols for the stem, and we have our narrator, and so on for leaves, and then petal, stamen, pistil, environment, and we couldn't fit it on here, but there's also happiness as well. So here we have grade 2, and grade 2's final product, again, very similar to grade 1. They have more sentences. You can see 3 descriptive sentences here, and they have some differences in sizes and images to represent loud or quiet. They have and for this learner, they're also going to be doing conducting. They're going to be leading the conducting. So that's a little bit of a change as well. So again, very similar to K1 and KN1, right? K was not really a graphic score, a different type of graphic score, right? We have our sentence, we have our instruments, we have our movement, read, play, move. When we get to first grade, it's following a graphic score. There are symbols, and there's our sentences, still different students doing different things at the same time. Teacher's going to select who is doing what in each segment of the performance. Grade 2, more sentences, a little bit more descriptive, some changes in the sizing of some of the symbols to change the musicality, and conducting. Now we're going to look at resource X. So resource X, you'll see it's very similar across the board. What changes from K to 2 is how much assistance or lack of assistance they need. So we have sharp seeds, so they have the words and they have the image on top, and then we have our playing and our movement. Now we look at resource Y. So this is representing tracing. So that's a tweak, right? And they're going to have 2 descriptive phrases. Here was just 1. So with our resource Y, 2 descriptive phrases, some tracing is going on. We still have our playing our instruments and our movements. And for resource Z, students that are working towards the standard, the change here is now it's going to be a sentence, but it's going to be completed with sentence starters. Still we have our read, play, and move. So those are the different versions that we have. Our standard K, standard grade 1, standard grade 2, and for those students that are working towards the standards X, Y, and Z. So now I'm going to take you through the curricular materials that you're going to have access to in this project. So we're going to start with curriculum maps first. Oops. And let's take a look at grade K. So this is standard grade K. So this is what you're going to have access to, and you're going to have access to it for standard K1 and 2. So if we look at the top, it shows the description of what the project is. It tells you what learner it's for. It tells you the big idea, enduring understanding, essential question. It explains the final product. It tells you about the opening activities, the music making, academic mini, closing activities, standards are addressed, both academic standards and academic skills. It tells you the resources that are being used for academic, so the videos being used. It tells you their prior knowledge needed, any music skills and standards, the music videos that are being used in the project, SEL skills, social environment, physical environment, assessment, Danielson framework. And then at the bottom, very important, is the 7-period scaffolded learning targets, and it explains what they are going to be covering each day of the project. Okay, so that is really important. It's like a condensed form of the lesson plan. So you're going to have that for K1 and 2. So now we're going to take a look. Here's grade 1, the curriculum map. Again, same format, just a little bit different in terms of the differentiation of what they're learning, but same format, and same for grade 2. Same exact format, again, slightly tiered up for grade 2. So now we're going to look at lesson plans. So you're going to have a lesson plan for each of the 7 days of this project for each learner K1 and 2. This happens to be lesson 1. So this is the lesson overview. Starts out similarly to the curriculum map. You have the standard. All right, so we have our implementation slide deck. So here is our kindergarten standard slide. And we have our 7-day embedded schedule. Then we go to opening activity, and you'll see our opening activity. Also, in the speaker notes are all the instructions pulled straight from the lesson plan. So that's another important resource for you, for all the learners. Then we go into our academic mini lesson. This is where they're going to learn their vocabulary. They're going to be reading. They're going to be writing. They're going to learn about adjectives and write their sentences. And then we go into our music making component of the lesson. They're going to learn what the instrument is assigned to each part of the flower. Here we have our resource Z, working towards the standards slide deck. Again, same 7-day embedded schedule. Less pictorial supports now because they're getting closer to being at that grade level, on grade level. Again, very simple to teach this to a class of diverse learners. Here we have some sentence starters for this learner. And so on. So those are our implementation slide decks. The next thing that I'm going to take you to is our project resource guide. This is a very useful tool. We have some information about our program, some quotes. We have a table of contents. This is our cover page. We're going to skip along here, and we're going to go, we have our project description, so you can take a look at that. We have the ELA skills that are addressed in our project, the music skills techniques addressed, SEL skills, social emotional skills. We have a reminder for you of all the curricular materials that you'll have access to in this project, which is our curriculum maps, our lesson plans, our classroom implementation slide decks, worksheets, resources, and our modeling video. Then we have a little bit more description of our opening activities, our academic mini lessons, the music project steps, closing activities. We have an overall general final product. We have our supply list by what it's for. So it tells you exactly the type of part of the flower. So example, seed shaker, to make the seed sounds, you're going to need the plastic container, the sunflower seeds. For roots, you're going to need the root brushes, and so on. So all of the different parts of the flower, and it tells you what instrument you're going to need, and it gives you a link so you can take a look and see what that looks like in case you're not sure what it looks like. We also have our 2 books, and we have some academic supplies as well. So then we also have project differentiation. So there's just the list here. This tells you the different standards and how they vary across learners and get more advanced when we get to the right side for our K1 and 2 versions, and then for our students, our resources for those students in X, Y, and Z who are working towards the standards. And then this chart is very, very super helpful. It shows you across the board what it looks like from our simplest working towards a standard resource X, what one of the components of our flower ensemble soundscape would look like. So it's not every single part together, but just one little snapshot. This happens to be from our stems. So looking at stems across the board, we have our resource X, then we have our resource Y. So we're going from one descriptive word and playing, so reading, playing, moving. Then we have 2 descriptive words with some tracing. Then we have sentence starters. Then we have independent sentences. Then we have 2 sentences and a graphic score, 3 sentences and a graphic score. So you can see they're all doing read, play, and move, but it varies in intensity as you go through the different learners. And then we have broken down our standard K and the ELA skills addressed, the music skills addressed, and the final product. And again, this doesn't show the whole final product because there's just no space. So not shown are some of the pistil, the sunshine, the wind, rain, bees, happiness, but that is also part of the project. And then we have grade 1, standard, and the musical skills. Again, we have our final product. Again, not pictured due to space, is our rain, our wind, our bees, our happiness, but they will be following the same format as what you see here. And then we have grade 2, again, musical skills, concepts, techniques. We have our grade 2 final product. Again, due to space, you do not see the sunshine, rain, wind, and happiness. They will be part of the final product. It just couldn't fit because of space, and they're going to follow the same format. And then we have for our resource X, Y, and Z, we have the skills being addressed for ELA, for music, and then we have our final products, and same for resource Y and for resource Z, working towards the standard. And then if you have a diverse class of different learners, you could combine these different slides for the different learners, and you can combine it into one slide, something like this. So let's write about flower stems. So one group might be using one word to describe a flower stem. One group might be tracing 2 short phrases to describe a flower stem. And one group might be writing 3 sentences using 3 adjectives per sentence to describe a flower stem. So that is our project resource guide. All right, so now I'm about to teach this project, the flower ensemble, to a class of mock K-2 students, so you can see what this could look like for your students in your classroom with a diverse set of learners. Hello, boys and girls. I'm so excited to be working with you today. Today we're going to start our flower ensemble project. It's so exciting. Our project is 7 days long, and today is day one. Day one is highlighted. Today we're going to learn about flower seeds and roots and write to describe them. And we're going to learn to play our seed shaker and root brush to represent seeds and roots. It's going to be really exciting. All right, we're going to start every day of our 7-day project with our opening activity. So you're going to watch me shake seeds. And let me, oops. You can see my seed shaker. I'm gonna shake these seeds. Can you see me shaking my seeds? All right, now can you rub your hands to copy the sound you just heard? Let's listen to it again. Can you use your voice to make a sound like the seeds moving? Very good. Good job. Let's see our first graders. Can you rub your hands fast or slow? Let's see. Listen again. Can you rub your hands fast or slow? Can you use your voice to make a quiet or a loud seed sound? Very good. Let's check in with our second grade students. Can you rub your hands and notice how it feels? How does it feel? How does it make you feel? Oh, your hands are getting warm? That's cool. Can you use your voice to copy the seed sound and tell what it feels like? Let's see. Let's listen to it again. Yeah, it kind of feels like we're saying shh, 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 a little bit, right? All right, let's look at our students that are working towards the standard, our Resource X students. So watch me shake the seeds. And then I'm going to point. We're going to rub our hands. You see where I am? We're going to rub our hands. Let's rub our hands together. Good job. And can you use your voice? See where I'm pointing to? Can you use your voice? Very good. All right. Let's look at our Resource Y students that are working towards the standards. So watch me making the sounds. Can you rub your hands? See where I'm pointing? Rub your hands. And can you copy the sound? Very good. And let's check in with our Resource Z students. All right, watch me shake the seeds. Can you rub your hands softly, like the seeds moving? Use your voice to make a soft, quiet sound. Shh, 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 shh. Good job. All right, let's go back to our standard K, and we are going to watch a video from a professional musician who's playing a shaker, a real shaker, not our seed shaker, but a real instrument seed shaker. And we're going to, after we watch the video, we're going to try to shake our seed shaker just like the musician. And we can also practice using our hands and voice to sound like the musician. So let's listen. All right, so I'm going to pass out the containers to some of my students and they can pour in. We have some sunflower seeds and we can pour it in together. We can pour in a bunch of seeds together into the container and close it up. And for some of my students, I may come around with a little bit of tape and tape the seed shaker shut. For some of my students that are working towards the standard, I think I'm going to prepare this ahead of time for you so it's all ready to go. And I'm going to pass this out, and we're going to practice. Can you shake your seed shaker just like the musician? Very good. And we could also practice using our voices and our hands to sound like the musician, just like we did before. Very good. All right, let's take a look at our next part of our lesson. So we're going to practice doing starting and stopping with our shakers together. How do we start a sound? How do we stop a sound? So we are going to play this video, shake and stop. We're going to see if we can copy it, and then we're going to try it again and play with the video.
We're gonna shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop.
All right, we're ready. We're going to try to do it with a video now, okay? Let's see if we can do it with a video. Get your shakers ready. And so when she stops, no sound, no shaking. You think you can do it? All right, thumbs up if you can do it. All right, let's do it.
We're gonna
shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop.
Then we'll shake some more. We're gonna shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Then we'll shake some more. We're gonna shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Then we'll shake some more. We're gonna shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Then we'll shake some more.
Yay! Good job. And put your seed shakers down. Make them go to rest. Let's take a look at our first grade students, our standard first grade students. So we watched a video. We started shaking when the musician started. We stopped when the musician stopped. The woman in the video, that's our musician, right? And were we able to stop and start together? Good job. All right. And let's take a look at our second grade students. So our second grade students, we're going to watch another video before we do shake and stop. We're going to learn what a conductor does. So let's watch the video to find out. What does a conductor do?
What does a music conductor do? This is Musical Minute. Fun music facts and musical concepts in a minute or less. A conductor leads a group of musicians, often an orchestra, choir, or sometimes a combination of the two, like a choral symphony. They often use a baton, a short stick they hold to help musicians know when to start, stop, or how fast or slow to play. Conductors have many roles. Here's a few of them. They keep the beat. They cue entrances. And then they do other things like communicate dynamics or how a piece should sound. And this is where their expressions can be really fun to watch. Conductors are like traffic directors for music. So kudos to conductors. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more.
So conductors lead musicians. They help them to stop and start, and they do all sorts of other things. They're like the traffic director of the group. What did you notice the conductor doing? Yeah, they were starting and stopping. They were also telling the orchestra or the ensemble how loud or quiet to play. Very good. Good answers. And so we're going to practice, my second graders, we're going to practice starting, shaking when the musician stops, and starts rather, and stop when the musician stops. And now it's going to be your turn to conduct. Can you lead us? We're going to shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Very good job. All right, we're going to look at our Resource X working towards the standard students. So we're going to practice shaking, starting and stopping with our seed shakers. So when you see this image over here, that means you're going to, and I point to the start, the green start, we're going to shake. And when you see my hand stopping or the stop sign or the big X on the shake, 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 we're gonna stop. So we can also do thumbs up, start and stop, and start and stop. That's practice.
We're gonna
Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Good job. All right, for our resource Y, the same kind of thing. We're going to practice starting and stopping, right? And for our resource Z, we're going to practice. We're going to start shaking your seed shaker when I say the word start. And when I say stop, we stop. Ready? Let's try without the video. Ready and start. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Good job. Can we try it with the video now?
We're gonna
Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Good job. All right, let's go back. So now we are going to learn about a soundscape. What is a soundscape? In our project, we are going to be creating a soundscape about flowers, but now we're going to listen to a sunny day soundscape. So we learn what a soundscape is. Let's listen.
I've never heard of that before, Rohan. What's a soundscape?
A soundscape is the sound of an environment. Our world is made of many different sounds, and each environment has a different combination of sounds. Let's start by looking at what a sunny day in the park would look like. What kind of sounds do you hear?
When I imagine being in a sunny park, I can hear a gentle breeze blowing. I imagine that it sounds like this. To make this sound, you can gently blow air to sound like the wind.
When I imagine being in a sunny park, I can hear the sound of the tree branches rustling in the wind. I imagine that it sounds like this. Rub your hands together to make the sound of branches rustling in the wind. If it's less windy, you can rub your hands slower, and if it's more windy, you can rub your hands faster to speed it up. Now let's add in the sound of the wind too. Great job.
When I imagine being in a sunny park, I can hear the clicking of all of the bugs in the grass. I imagine that it sounds like this. To make this sound, move the tongue from the top of your mouth to the bottom of your mouth to make a clicking sound. Let's all click like bugs.
When I imagine being in a sunny park, I can hear the sound of a woodpecker pecking on a tree. I imagine that it sounds like this. To make this sound, tap your knuckle on the table or on the ground. Is the woodpecker pecking quickly or are they pecking slowly? Are they pecking quietly or very loud? You can explore all the different ways that a woodpecker can peck.
Now that we have all of our elements for a soundscape for our sunny day in the park, let's put them all together. You can pick any of the sounds that we just learned, or you can even make your own. Let's start off with the sound of the wind.
Now I'll add the sound of the rustling trees.
Now I will add in the sound of the woodpecker.
And finally, I'll add in the sound of the bugs.
Wow, it almost felt like I was there. Thank you for helping us make that beautiful sound.
So we saw in this video, we saw that each part of the sunny day had a different sound. And in our project, we are going to assign each part of the flower and its environment its own sound. And we're going to create our own soundscape. It's really cool. So now we're going to learn about what is a music ensemble, because we are going to become a flower ensemble. So what is an ensemble? So a music ensemble is a group of friends playing musical instruments together, and our friends is going to be our classroom, and we're going to have so much fun together. So now we're going to go into our academic mini lesson, and we're going to learn what is a flower and where do flowers come from. So in this 7-day project, we are going to learn about words and music to describe the parts of a flower, the environment about the flower, and how we feel about flowers. And then we're going to perform as an ensemble together. So we're going to watch this video to learn about flowers, seeds, and roots. And while we do that, we are going to take a look at a flower. Oops. I'm gonna pass out these fake tulips to everyone, and we're gonna feel it and look at it and examine it while we learn about the parts of the plant. Look inside.
Stem, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. Roots, stem, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. We start with a tiny seed in the ground, buried in the dirt. Roots will be found. The roots get water and form a base. The roots will hold the plant in place. The stem holds the plant up straight and tall. It helps make sure the plant doesn't fall. The stem carries water up from the dirt. The stem helps keep the plant alert. Roots, stem, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. Roots, stem.
I'm just gonna fade that out. Very good, boys and girls. Good job. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to read from our book. I'm gonna read to you from our book, From Seed to Plant. I'm gonna read to you pages 10 to 11. All about seeds and roots. So we're gonna read, how does a plant begin? Number 1, let's dig in. Most plants start as a seed. Number 2, the seed splits open. A shoot pushes out. This is called germination. Can you say germination? Germination. Number 3, a new plant is beginning. Buzzwords. All right, we'll get to movement in a second. And now we have our resource X, and we're gonna play quietly. We watched the video, and now we're gonna play quietly. Yeah, quiet. And our resource Y, we watch the video, follow me, do what I do, tap quietly. Good job. And we would read long roots and play our instrument. Resource Z, oops, so we watch the video, follow me, do what I do, tap the root brush quietly. Good job. All right, going back to, grade K. So we're gonna move like a growing flower. So we are going to, if we have space in our classroom, we're gonna come to the carpet. If we don't have space, we can do it as best we can in our chair. But if we have space, some space in our carpet, we may have to call table by table, depending on the space. And we are going to do the seed image first. So we're gonna curl our bodies with our arms behind our back, our head down, that's the seed. And then the roots is very similar, but instead of our arms behind, straight behind, we're gonna stick them up in the air to make a root. Right? So that's how we move our bodies for seeds and roots. And the same thing this time with our first grade, we are going to say the seeds feel smooth when I touch them, and we're going to play and move like a seed and move like a root. Roots are long and thin, so we would play our root brush and we move like a root. Grade 2. So the same thing, now we have the seeds feel shiny and smooth, so we play. We move our body like the seed. Roots grow in the soil to get water to help the plant grow. So we would tap and move our body like the roots. Now we have our resource X. So we have Move like a seed. So we're going to move our body like the seed. Move like the roots. And move our body with our roots with our hands sticking up in the air. Resource. Y. Move like a seed. We have small seeds and long roots, and we're going to move like a seed and a root. And then resource, Z, working towards the standard. Seeds are small and dry. We're going to move like a seed, and then we're going to do roots grow under the soil and move like roots. And then we're going to go back to our seats. So everybody back to our seats. Again, if we have space on our carpet, we may ask everyone to come to our carpet. If we don't have space, we may call table by table to come to the carpet. If we have a little, if we're short on space, or try to make it work a little bit modified at our table. But if we have space, some space on our carpet, we'll try to go to the carpet, even if it's table by table. All right, so now we're going to go back to kindergarten. And we're up to our closing activity. We almost finished our first day. All right, so we're going to raise your hands and answer, what have you learned today about playing the seed shaker? Yeah, we can play it loud and quiet. Very good. And the root brush. Is this instrument a loud instrument? No. Can we play this really rough and hard? No, we have to play it very gentle. And what parts of the flower did we learn about today? That's right, the seeds and the roots. And we learned how to take our words, our sentences, and add sounds and movements. Very good. Good job. So grade 1. Grade 1 is going to do a little bit more today. Grade 1, we are going to learn how to use and make a graphic score. So a graphic score is used by professional musicians. Sometimes when we don't use traditional music notation, maybe if you take in piano, quarter notes and eighth notes, those are traditional notation. Graphic score is taking pictures, and that's telling us how we're going to play our instruments. So here we have, this is silly, right? We have 2 cows, a piggy, and 3 horses. So we are going to make the sounds of each of the animals. And we're going to read from left to right. So we're going to start with the cows. So there are 2 cows. And so when we get to the animal picture, we're going to make the sound that the animal makes. So we have moo, moo. And we get to the piggy. What sound does a piggy make? Oink. And then there are 3 horsies. So how many times do we have to say neigh? That's right, 3 times. Neigh, 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 right? So then we go to the next slide. Ooh, this is harder, right? We have 2 rows across. So we're going to read from left to right, and then we're going to go back down, just like we read a book. We're going to go down to the next line and read from left to right. And whenever we see the animal, we're going to make the animal sound that we hear, so that we see. So we have moo, moo, oink, neigh, 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 oink, oink, neigh, neigh, moo, right? So that's how we follow the graphic score. We're gonna keep going on. So in our project, we are not using animals because we are learning about flowers. So we are going to use dots to represent seeds, and we are going to use, it looks like these brown upside down cups to me, to represent roots. So these are our symbols. So we're not using animals. That was just to practice. Now we're going to make our graphic score. So this is going to be a class graphic score about flowers. And I'm going to choose one of your sentences, one of your 2 sentences about seeds. So each part of the flower, I'm going to choose a different student, your 2 sentences, and those are going to be the 2 sentences we use for our final performance. So I'm picking one student. So this is my one student's 2 sentences. And then we are going to use dots to represent each of the important words in the sentence. So the important words are small, dry, smooth, seed in the first sentence. And the second sentence, we have gray, bumpy, and seed, right? Those are important words in that second sentence. So there's a dot to represent all of those important words. And every time we see a dot, what are we going to do? We're going to shake our seed shaker. So there are how many dots in this picture? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to shake 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So we're going to shake it 8 times, and we're going to also do the movement. So some students, my student who I selected their 2 sentences, they're going to narrate, they're going to read. A small, dry, smooth seed is on the ground. The seed is gray and bumpy. And while they are narrating, some of you will be doing your seed shakers 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And some of you will be doing the movement until we finish counting to 8, right? For 8 times. So that is the flower part, the seed. And then we're going to do the same thing for the root brush. So again, I chose a different student this time. This is their sentences. This is the sentence that we're going to use. Everyone wrote their sentences for the academic mini on their sheet of paper, but for our performance, I'm only choosing 1 student per section, but everyone's going to have a chance to do something. There are plenty of different parts to our flower ensemble soundscape. So we have the student's going to narrate. The long brown root goes into the soil. It is thin, wiggly, and curvy. And our instrument is our root brush. And then we're going to move like the root with our arms sticking up in the air. And how many times are we going to tap the root brush quietly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, right? So we're going to read. The long brown root goes into the soil, right? And while they're reading it, while the student's reading it, at the same time, we're going to have our other students play and our other students do the movements, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the narrator's reading. All right. So that is first grade. And then we're going to practice it without stopping. So that was practicing it by itself, and now we're going to practice it as if we were performing it without stopping, going from one to the next one. And then we're up to our closing activity. We'll get to that in a second. So now we have grade 2. And grade 2, we are also doing graphic score, but it's a little bit harder, a little bit more complex because we're adding dynamics into our graphic score. So the bigger the image of the animal, I just wanted to recap how easy this project is to differentiate to your class of students if you have a wide range of students in your classroom with a wide range of learner levels. So in this project, no matter their learner level, all students are going to be learning about the same parts of the flower and the environment. What is going to change is the way they are describing. So they might have more adjectives that they're describing. They may be tracing. They may be using more images to help support them, or they may be writing more sentences, more descriptive sentences, more vocabulary. They're all going to be following the same format for the flower ensemble performance. They're going to be doing read, move, and play. Some learners may be conducting, some learners may be following a graphic score, others will not, but it's the same parts of the flower for all the different learners. There's just slight and same movements. It's just a slight tweak in how they're presenting their work. But it's very easy to differentiate for your class for a wide range of learners. This project connects directly to literacy because they're going to be reading, they're going to be writing, they're going to be speaking and listening to each other throughout this project. And this project directly connects to music, again, because they are going to be learning about musical opposites. They're going to be learning about stop and go, conducting, right? And they're going to be learning how to work together to create an ensemble performance. So I know this is going to go very well for your students. Once again, my name is Beth Selden, and I'm a curriculum specialist for CEI's Meridian Professional Learning Program. I wish you all the best in implementing this project, and I know your students are going to have a great time with it. Thank you, and have a great day.